Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm just hopping on today for a quick walkthrough of my Spring and Summer 2021 Traveler's Notebook using Cocoa Daisy kits. And I've got about, I think, 11 TN layouts in here. I also use the kits to do 12 by 12 pages and other projects, but this gives you a glimpse of some of the things I did. And I thought what I would do is flip through and maybe with each spread mention a tip or technique or a design element, something that you might find to be a good refresher or something new you hadn't really thought about doing with your kits. Okay, and so you're going to see a mixture of products because this draws from kits, probably from the beginning of the spring kits up and through Peach Ridge. Okay, this is a page that I did make with Peach Ridge, and I think what I wanted to say about this, it's called On My Desk, and I wanted to call attention to the fact that I like in my seasonal traveler's notebooks at least one page that is kind of a currently focus that does something with what my current life looks like. And in this format, I could talk a little bit about like what is on my desk this summer, what kinds of reading I'm doing, what kinds of projects I'm working on. And so that's just kind of, I guess, an idea for a layout and one that is good to do, I think, like at least seasonally, if not more often. Okay, this is a page called Yoga, and what I want to point out about this one is that it's perfectly fine to create titles that aren't just the alpha stickers or aren't just stamped out, and instead have maybe some image stamping. And so I did this with Yoga, and then also to remember that tags are like a really good home, and you can see that this becomes a home for my title and my journaling and a little bit of embellishment too. Okay, this one called Magnolia is a page that I guess the idea is a very simple one, but one that I really liked is just like freehand cutting and piecing together elements. I did this recently on a 12 by 12 page too that people said looked like really quilty, but I don't do, as you can see by the look of it, any measuring or using of punches. It's just scissors, and there's something really relaxing about that, and it's also a great way to use up scraps from prior kits. So I worked with one kit kind of mainly here, but I pulled in some papers that coordinated really well from others, and that's the great thing about the Cocoa Daisy kits is I think they mix and match really well from month to month. Okay, this idea is pretty obvious from looking at it, and that is switch the orientation of your traveler's notebook. And this is a page that maybe you've seen called Hot Summer Dog, about my dog Hazel and how she does not tolerate the heat very well. And there are several different things I could point out about it, but the main thing I want to remind myself of too is that it's perfectly fine just to switch the orientation of the notebook. And I've done this before, but I feel like I don't do it quite enough, and I want to keep that in mind as a option. Okay, this page, there were a couple things I thought I might say about it. One is that this home, A Story of Who We Are, is a sticker from the sticker kit. And I thought it was like kind of an interesting insight that I just looked at that and thought, well, really, that's what the idea of my page is, because I was up at my mom's, and that's home, but of course it's not my primary home, and I also go to South Bend to my boyfriend's home, and all three are really homes in a way, and certainly a story of who we are. So that was kind of a jumping off point actually for the page, and it made a really good title. The other thing I could point out here is just a couple things. One is you can use one of the die cuts with words, this one said Summer Days, as part of your title. Summer Days Up North then becomes my title once I use the alpha stickers. Some people commented on the word strips for the journaling, so that's kind of an old technique, but one that's a lot of fun to remember and move back to. I just used one of the sticky note pads included in the kit to do my journaling and cut it and have it run along the leafy background to describe what summer days up north at my mom's place feel like. Okay. This one, which I did in the spring, so it's yay for green, when we returned to green. There are a couple things to point out. The first thing is you can always embellish right on top of a photo. And if you end up printing your photo large, as I did here, and it's going in a TN, and you want to use more of the die cuts, depending on the kind of negative space you have in your photo, there was a lot here, and I could just build some more interest with pop dots and stickers and make a little collage. The other thing I wanted to point out is that journaling doesn't have to be in a block. We kind of saw that on the last layout too, but here I actually separated into components. So I used the numbers, there are often numbers included in the kits, to talk about 3 different things that made me happy in May. I'm going to go right to the end because I have another page that's also based on that idea of dividing your journaling into 3 points. And I use these really cool chunky numbers from the kit, one of the spring kits, to tell my story of painting this trio of chickens. Okay, then to move on, this is a page that's actually going to be coming to the blog soon, so you get a little sneak peek here. What I'll say about this page, I say different things in my discussion of it on the blog, but one thing I want to say here, I think, to add to the techniques we're talking about is I find it fun just to embellish an edge of a page and, stitch it down and use paper. It could be torn paper or cut paper along with washi. And here I also used one of the die cuts. I love the wood grain, so I've been using that like crazy. And then I punched a little doily from the wood grain as well. And then these wonderful matte enamel dots that came in Peach Ridge are sprinkled throughout. And then I just included the journaling. This is just typed on some clear sticker paper. Okay, this page, I guess what I wanted to say about it, this is one you've probably seen. It was a recent one on the blog. It's about learning Sachiko stitching. Maybe you also saw that I planned to do this page in one of my planner videos. I did some real stitching on a couple edges, but then also used stitching stamps, which came in one of the kits, to reinforce the theme. And so that was one point, of course, to use stitching, which I love and do all the time. The other is cutting organic shapes. This is a little bit like what we looked at with the Magnolia page is, just use your scissors and have fun with the paper. The paper's always so pretty. And sometimes I want to include a large bit of it, and matting the photo does some of the work, but it doesn't always have to be square. Okay, I think with this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about stamping. And here I stamped the lemons, and it's a 2-part stamp, which is always fun. And then I fussy cut them. The other thing to note about them, and if you look closely you can see this, I used 2 colors, just inked it right up on the stamp to give a little dimension to kind of convey the shape of the lemon. And so this page about hummus that in my recipe has quite a bit of lemon, that was one technique. And then, of course, the visual triangle when you cut them and place them on the page. The other thing I wanted to notice is that repetition is a great and simple design element. And so there was the stamp Yum. This was so very yum. But there was also the 3x4 card. So I decided to just combine them to kind of give the eye this pleasure through repetition. Okay. This is a page that I just made to finish out the notebook. And I think the main thing I wanted to point out about this is that there was the large tip-in that says "You're a peach," but given the photos I wanted to use from this shopping trip my boyfriend and I took to the nursery to pick out plants, I didn't want to use the whole tip-in. I wanted to kind of keep it simple, but use that sort of as a title or a large element. So I just, again, organically cut it and used the stitching stamps. So another idea. Almost done here. And I think that takes us to the end. So I I'm ready to take, I've already labeled it spring and summer, and I'm ready to take this and put it in another place, and then replace it with a notebook from the next kit, which I'm really excited about. And that'll be the September kit and the start of my fall TN scrapbooking. The other one I have in here is pretty much done, and this is from winter 2021, and I can't remember if I've done a flip through. Love this page about my dog Hazel, who actually hasn't barked in this video, but that's been in here just for me to kind of look through, and I do have a couple pages I'd still like to use. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch up with you later. Thanks.